Hello, hello. Hey there, YouTube, slasher chicks and slasher dudes. My name is Alicia, and this is Slasher Chick TV, where we like to talk about growth mindset and negotiation strategies. So you never have to choose between this or that. You can always say yes to this slash that. And I've already gone live today, so this is still day 77 of 90 consecutive days of live streaming. But I was frustrated and I run into rant, and so this felt like the place that I wanted to do it. And that in itself is already growth, okay? And that's why the title of this Progress Over Perfection live stream is Growth is Uncomfortable, because I used to I had a friend who, well, I still consider her a friend. We just don't live near each other and see each other anymore. But she had that quote in her email, is everything you want is right outside your comfort zone. And I always thought it was like, oh, such an intriguing quote. Like, and it resonated, right? But today, today it hit home because I know for a fact I'm in growth mode. I know that just because I'm doing things I've never done before. Um, like showing up for 77 consecutive days of live streaming. Um, and that means like, and everybody ain't gonna go with you. Everyone can't go with you, right? And that in itself can be uncomfortable. But literally everything you want is right outside of your comfort zone. Like staying comfortable is the same as staying complacent. Who the hell wants to do that? That is the equivalent to death. All right, maybe that's a bit dramatic, but it might be worse. Like inertia might actually be worse than death. You're not even going anywhere. You're just sitting still, running in place. Who wants that? Who wants that? I don't want that. Which means I have to do the uncomfortable things that don't feel good because I don't want to run in place. So, no, running ain't good on your joints and knees. But unless you want to just be sitting in the same spot, you're just gonna have to do the uncomfortable thing. And so why I needed to rant was I'm accepting that I just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable for some time period. And this is the option I had for that uncomfortability. I can rant about it. I can rant and rave. But at the end of the day, after I rant and rave, I'm gonna suck it up and keep it moving because the things that I want are outside of my comfort zone. If I wanted to stay complacent, I could be in my comfort zone and just chill. That's what I could do. But if I just chill, 5 years from now, I will be in the same space, chilling. Now, for the sake of all y'all being in the chat, Coach Sherry, meet my mom. My mom, meet Coach Sherry. Um, and yes, okay, you're right, but it was a bit dramatic, but it's how I felt at the moment. It is the listen. I know you could watch Baby Reindeer, but in Baby Reindeer, that one line that she said still sticks to me when they were talking about running away. And she said, some people run away by staying in the same place for a very long time. Well, actually, she says it with a Scottish accent. I think I do a pretty good Scottish accent when I say it. I'm going to try. Just like, some people run away because they by staying in the same place for a very long time. And that does not, I can't, doesn't leave me. Some people run away by standing in the same place for a very long time. That, ugh. So, at any rate, but I get it why some people might do that because it's comfortable. It's comfortable. It's not that their minds run away, Coach Sherry. It's that they never actually face the thing that they have to face, right? Like one. Let's use uh, addiction. We talked briefly about the method, the meth epidemic that exists in Philadelphia. It's meth, heroin, I don't know, it's opiates, okay? Now, I could run away from all of my problems by choosing to use heroin every day. I could run away by standing in the same space for a very long time. That's one way, right? But another way that people can do that is if you know you have a gift and you don't choose, you don't answer the call, you're doing the same thing. You're running away by standing in the same place for a very long time. If and it nags at you. If you have that gift and there's a call on you to share that with the world, or whether that be through, I don't know, it could be through so many things, right? It can be through art, but it could be through something you're supposed to invent, something you're supposed to discover, one set of words you're supposed to say to some other person that invents or discover. Who knows what your purpose is? But if you are ignoring the call, you will always feel the tug, like you will always be uncomfortable. You can't even ignore the uncomfortable. So if you're going to feel uncomfortable one way or another, it might as well be in pursuit of the things that you want. And if you're like, well, I can't even get in pursuit of the things that I want, I don't even know what that is. Well, that's going to be uncomfortable too. Take the time to figure it out. And so that's why, yeah, I'm going to have to be okay with being uncomfortable, because what I can't do is I can't ignore the call. And one of the reasons I know I'm onto something is the fact that when I was feeling this and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this feeling of acknowledging, hey, maybe that particular relationship no longer serves me. I may have to create some distance here. I don't like that feeling because it's change. And saying yes to something does mean saying no to other things. Becoming a new you does require some aspect of mourning. The you used to be, the life you thought you were going to do, all of those things. There is a change requires a lot of adjustments. But I would rather adjust and move forward than ignore it and stay still and stuck. And so, thank you, Rudy. But as you know, I'm on Eastern Standard, or is it Eastern Daylight Time now? So it's actually 9:13 here. And I feel a little better now that I've let my rant out. I will let myself feel the emotions. No, I can't see the hearts, Coach Sherry. I always wondered how that works then when I put the hearts up, because I use those when I'm on my laptop all the time, like the hearts and the stars, not the emojis, but no, I use them in my mobile. And I was hoping that the creator at least sees them. That stinks to know that you don't see them either. That's also funny because I never see Rudy when Rudy gives you your time check either. I didn't know how it was working. That's so interesting. But I have you, Coach Cherry, though. I did try the thing, and if you see the live from last night, I went and cut off just a few, I don't know, like 30 seconds of the end, and it made it a whole new video and posted it up on my video feed. So that's how that works, apparently. And that's something I'm going to keep in mind for these future live streams, because being on day 77 and only having 13 days to go, I'm going to make those next 13 work in my favor. So going to figure out how to get all of them to do double duty. But being I'm gonna try to keep that in mind, Coach Sherry, that being off balance is best. You're growing, learning, and elevating. Um, and it takes time. Growth does take time. But I am grateful for the moments that you can celebrate. And you talked about this yesterday, Coach Sherry, of just making sure to celebrate the moments of progress. This is a great way for me to close my little rant now that I have let it all out. Is that I feel that I've made progress. Um, but the greatest thing about having all of these lives under my belt is more than anything. I, I'm excited about having like content I can repurpose, community that's building, knowing things that we're all working on and being able to check in with one another on that. I'm excited about all of those things. But I am most excited about keeping my commitment to myself. That is the cherry on top. Because in addition to yeah, those tangible things, it is changing my relationship with my own confidence and my ability to do YouTube in a sustainable way, and my effectiveness at this. Um, I've had people that I didn't know were watching tell me they've seen my lives get better over time. So that's also been like, oh, well, I didn't even. Oh, you're one of those one random numbers that shows up that like they don't write in the chat. Um, but I will also note that even as I'm sharing these things about the positive aspects that I feel about having all these lives under my belt, I definitely still have that nagging thing in my head. But oh, but you haven't figured out this part, and you haven't figured out that part, and you still have to do this, and you still have to do that. But that's when I go back and remind myself progress over perfection. I am growing in this. I am doing it, and I have been consistent in the work. And that's that's the part. Yeah, and honestly, that part, Coach Sherry, has been a relief of feeling less stressed about it and just less concerned about it being perfect or being I'm going to say like even being done, but well, I guess it really does come down to being done, being my own version of done, right? Your version of this is what feels like, what I want to present. And I was having this conversation, and that with not being able to get my braids done when I wanted to, and that I planned to film stuff, and I feel I love my fro. Okay, don't get me wrong, I love being au natural, but I feel more polished with my braids. I just do. And so then I'm more hesitant to not put out content if I don't feel like it's a part of what the packaging I want. But I realize that kind of like that's going to hold me back. I'm going to have to be okay with it being 96% what you want. Yeah, exactly. It's like, girl, you don't know. But see, here's the thing. It's grateful that you have people that are willing to give you the advice. And I'm also recognizing, Coach Sherry, that you have to also take that with a grain of salt, and that they're doing it because they care about you and they know how you also want to package it. But you also know, like, if they're not also doing YouTube, they don't know all the things that are behind the scenes that it takes to make YouTube happen. So some of the things, it's like, I'm going to take what you need and leave the rest. I will file that for future, you know. Um because maybe that piece of feedback is what leads you to having a spreadsheet of all of your titles so that later you never have to write them, you just copy and paste. It might present some value. But when someone says something to me like, why don't you just X, Y, and Z? I'm like, have you ever edited a YouTube video? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, you know what? Thanks. I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, see, that definitely was not perfect and not planned. But it felt like, it's gonna be like me talking to my friend. We're on a phone call. That's how this live is gonna be. And that's gonna be okay too. And the thing is, one thing I'm noticing too, and how the algorithm's changing and just how content is changing, people seem to love that more. That's why they're even, promoting the vertical live streams, because that feel of being on a FaceTime with your friend is what people are attracted to right now in terms of the content that people put out. Now, is that as a result of, is that a TikTok effect now? I don't know. I don't know what's caused it. What I think has led to this swing is that people have gotten so tired of the overly curated, clearly facade method, that's why they're so interested in, I want this to feel as authentic as possible. Like, can you be like a real person? I feel like I like somewhere in the middle, because I still want it to be aspirational. And so to me, for what I want, as far as what's aspirational to me, there is going to require some level of curation. But I don't, maybe that's a mindset thing too, because I'm like, isn't everyone actually curating their life? Like, isn't that how they're approaching it? But maybe they're not. But Coach Cherry, you're certainly someone who, like, the way you approach life is certainly like a curator. You are designing what you want and being intentional about how you grow and cultivate your relationships, your businesses, like all of those things in a way that gives you the most joy. But yeah, when Rudy comes in and tells you what time it is, I don't ever see Rudy. And when you're like, oh, thank you for the time, Rudy, I'm like, wow, how does Rudy get back there? Like, what does But yeah, I never see him. And actually, I never see them, because I don't know. Does Rudy actually have a page? Rudy, are you still here? Because I don't know if Rudy does have a page. I don't know. But I'll tell you, Rudy. One thing that's kept me on your page is whatever is in Rudy's title. I have assumed that I've made an assumption that Rudy either has autism or is a caregiver for someone who has autism. And since my little sister has autism, I have a special affinity for either someone who has autism or is a caregiver for someone who has autism. So I figured Rudy was my part of my tribe, but I really don't know who Rudy is, actually, matter of fact. So Rudy, we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to check out your channel if you do have a channel. Next time you're in here and you tell me what time it is, let me know if you have a channel so I can go find it, because I can't find you now without being able to see the name. But yeah, I was so glad to try to do that live that way. Just take advantage of the time, because I was super tired by the time I had to go to my meeting this evening. And although I still came home and hopped on the live stream anyway, I didn't know if I was going to, be in the mood. And technically it wasn't, because I was so frustrated. I'm still frustrated, but I feel relief, a little bit of relief. One, I feel the relief for using my tools and my resources. Two, I feel relief because since I know this is a growth period and growth mode, I also know this is temporary. This uncomfortable part is temporary. There will be a point in the future where I will look back, okay, and say to myself, I remember when I was on day 77 of my live streams and I was ranting about how life was changing and I ain't like it. And now look at me. That there will be a time, okay, that day 77 is in the rear view mirror. Heck, at this point, it's going to be in the next 12 hours. Because I don't like to dwell on um, things that aren't, moving me forward. Because, well, I won't even say moving me forward. I don't like to dwell on things that don't support my best experience in the present. This is all I got. I thought of your daughter's method, the Kochiri, came in my head just as I was walking home from my parking space and I was frustrated and that's when I came up with the idea, just go on live. And I was walking around with a grimace, literally a grimace on my face. And I walked past this couple that were outside in their little two-seater bistro, and they had made like a little charcuterie board of like it looked like it was only like grapes and cheese and crackers, and they had like a wine, and she had her like legs up on his lap, and they just looked like they were so comfortable and just having such a good time and enjoying the night, and it just literally made me smile. And then I realized how silly it was to be grimacing. Like, because then it immediately made me think of just like all the wonderful things life had to offer by just looking at that couple. Just enjoy this moment together. Right before, and it helped that it was like right before I turned the corner to my street. Every single time I get to my street, I'm like, I love that I live here. And then I'm reminded, then the second thought on my street is like, and Benjamin Franklin walked on these same cobblestones. Like, so yes, it definitely felt good. And it was a good reminder of just going around and smiling for no reason, because why not? Life is good. I do live in the best country in the world. And I feel like everyone should feel that way about their country, but mine undoubtedly is. In spite of all of our challenges, still one of the best places to live in the world. And if for no other reason, then I can say that it sucks without repercussion. The fact that I have the freedom to do that is one of the things that I think makes this, my country so great. So there are all kinds of things I could think about as to why there are reasons, there's more reasons to smile than there are reasons to grimace. And that couple and the story that you shared of I just walk around smiling because why not? Has definitely popped in my head and helped me shift my mood. But yes, I totally feel you, Coach Sherry. Like, why are we meeting today? That's how I felt about my meeting. Like, really? Today? But I'll say this too. I would think that has to make you so proud as a parent that that's her personality and temperament, and knowing that they're all bring their unique value to the world. But that has to be just a joy to know that that's the little person that you helped shape, and they're adding joy to the world by just being themselves. That's just really, really awesome. So I appreciate that she shares that lesson with you so that you could then share it with your community so that it could help me today. And being our best selves can have ripple effects, whether we know it or not. So as Coach Sherry said, you never know who is watching, and you'll never know who you can help, and you'll never know how maybe that one smile, when you actually remembered that there's more things to smile about than there are to grimace, might be the one kindness someone else receives that day too. You can have those ripple effects as well. So I appreciate you letting me rant, get it out of my system, feel a little better. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this live. I mean, I'm gonna leave it up. I'm gonna leave it up. But since I am getting back to the braiding salon super early tomorrow, I'm not going to try to stay up and stream after midnight so I can say that that's day 78. I'm going to pat myself on the back for the extra of day 77, and I will be back tomorrow for day 78. And returning my wife because she Coach Sherry, I saw that you just did something. You're live on the history of Juneteenth, or I think that's what it's on. But just on even what was it called? Even the promise of Juneteenth. Lest we forget is what you titled it. Yeah, let us not. So that is why I am also going to be looking forward, because there was also a moment today too when I was earlier today being grateful and thinking about the fact that it was Juneteenth, and I was riding somewhere, just riding along in my car, and yeah, it was like deja vu because that happened a few months ago. Just riding around in my car and thinking about the fact that we are literally, living our ancestors' dreams for things that maybe perhaps they didn't even think would ever be possible. I even think just about my great grandmother and things I wish I could tell her that I got to do, that I'm sure she just I know she didn't have a concept of. So that in itself, the fact that I know that to be true, that my current life is someone else's wildest dream, is more than enough reason to smile over grimacing. And so I thank you. Thank you for being here with me. I'm going to continue to remember that it is true that your vibe attracts your tribe. And if no one else told you today, you're more than enough. And I love you.